Good morning everybody, welcome to Stockradar Stocks on the Move for another week. Today's date is the 18th of April 2024. My name is Richard Lee and I made the stockradar.com.au website for you. Okay, this week I want to talk about locking in profits. We've seen the market come off a bit today, or the last week or so, a couple of weeks. What do we do? Well, we've got to listen to our stops basically. So I'm going to talk about locking in your profits, a simple step-by-step guide to making sure they don't evaporate. We're going to go through my trade process step by step to catching those big profits, like those stocks like Car Group, GMG, Magellan, Reece, GQG, Wesfarmers. They've all done some good rallies lately. We're going to make sure we capture the most part of those trends. We're never going to get the top or the bottom, but we want to take a nice big fat chunk of them, okay? So I'm going to go through my premise and my process a little bit later on, just with a couple of slides to explain what I do, okay? So locking in your profits, a step-by-step guide is what we're going to go through today. Okay, so firstly we're going to go to the top 10 and have a look at what we've got. A bit of a mixed grouping here. Some gold, some uranium, some industrial, some energy, some technology, a builder. There's quite a few in there at the moment. So we've got a bit of an interesting selection. As I say, the market's come off a bit, so we're seeing some of those industrials especially come back a bit. A little bit of support for commodities at the moment as gold's been running. Brent's been okay, copper's been okay, so they're getting a little bit of a boost there. So some of those stocks we talked about, it's like some of the iron ore stocks. We can see iron ore's come off from well up here. It's just pottering above the 80 to 100 area. That seems to be where the support is. Our iron ore miners are fine in that range. They can make money. They're low cost producers. So that's fine for those stocks. And then the other one I want to look at is uranium, which has had a boom run since 2021. It's gone from $30 to about $90 now. It's been up to over 100, but it's come back a bit there. So a lot of our uranium stocks have been running quite well. So we've caught Paladin a couple of times. A couple of stocks I've looked at like Bannerman in that sector as well. So the positives we've got this week are really some of those stocks in the gold area. Bellevue, GMD, Capricorn, Ramelius, Emerald, which we've got. And also, it's really a bit of a moment of reflection for us. We get a little bit anxious as this market, especially the US market, keeps going higher and higher and higher. And it's nice to have a bit of froth blown off that. We haven't gone up nearly as fast as nearly as high, but we are coming back a bit, and it'll be interesting to see how far we do come back, having made that new high for the moment. So not a panic situation, it's just a pullback. Those occur all the time, so let's not to worry too much about it. Let's just deal with each stock individually as they come up and as they happen. I'll look at a couple of stocks later on that testing their stops at the moment. Okay, so that's the top 10 down there, which looks okay. Now, stock pick count. Again, another 3 stocks this week, 3 good stocks this week, interesting stocks this week. 60 stock picks of a 156, so edging up still again, and the 18 ETF picks of 24, mainly indices ETFs, then a couple of gold ETFs there, which have been running on quite nicely as well. So that is stock pick count. For you at the moment. So why don't we now go and have a look at a few of these indices and see how we're looking after a couple of weeks off. Okay, so you can see the Dow here. It's come off certainly pretty sharply, pretty fast, but we've seen this before. We can get some big moves down, but the market spends most of its time going up. So this may well come back. It's had a big rise here. S1 is the obvious support area, which is down around 3,800, 3,600, I should say. So, that's maybe a possibility, but there's certainly some volume here. So certainly the buyers are probably backing off a little bit at the moment, and the sellers are starting to take control. So, and the momentum, the acceleration of the upside is quite a bit too. So we're coming back. We'll see how far we come back. The S&P is not too different. It's also coming back, a couple of sharp weeks down there. The reality is markets often fall faster than they go up, although having said that, this recent market's been a rather extraordinary time. But they come down very suddenly. Even though you see the incremental moves up high, you still see some big moves down, big moves down, big moves down, big moves down. And this is what they do. They fall faster. But you can see here that in many instances the market turned around and went back up again. This was a corrective phase, but here, a good correction here on the way up. So we're still in that big uptrend phase at the moment. And while that support holds there at S1, which is certainly a possibility it could come back to, sorry I just lost that, it certainly could come back to that area. We're still okay as far as I'm concerned at the moment. So it's just a matter of watching specific stocks. Okay, Nasdaq, well, it's its high and come back off there pretty sharply. Techies having a little bit of a rest. We've got a bit of selling happening here, so watch out for that sector. Again, that's not really big in our market, the tech sector, so we have to worry too much about that, except for those of you that do hold US stocks. But for the tech sector, it really doesn't matter too much. And so we're getting that bit of buoyancy coming from the commodities, which is helping our market a little bit there, some of those bigger stocks. So that's the Nasdaq. So the indices are all coming back, and we'll see how far they come back for the moment. Our market has come back here. It's hit back to the lows here. Let's just blow this up a little bit. So we'll come back here, 76290 the old high. Around this area, 7,500, 7,600 is where the support's going to be. Around through here, we've got a moving average here. The trend line's sort of being tested there. It's not that big a trend line anyway, but the more area is the moving average, and these few peaks across here that might provide some support. So we'll just watch that, see what's happening. The steam's got out of it a little bit, which is understandable, to be expected. So again, a move back, and well, you can read opportunity, you can read whatever you like into that, but always an opportunity as far as I'm concerned. And as we are making some good profits at the moment, we may well lock some of those in as well. Anyway, we'll see what the market says. Go to the commodities now. Gold, I know it came back $30 or so last night, but really it's gone up very fast, very fast, if that's the right way to say it. And it's now kicking still kicking high here. So you can see the range here, the old rule of thumb, extrapolate up the range to get your distance of what a market might go to. Here's my range here, I extrapolate that up there. It's hit about right on there at the moment. It may well go further. We may well get another leg higher. I don't really know. The volume's been picking up here a little bit, better than it was back here. So it may well go. It's hard to know. Gold can do anything it likes. Times it can do it very fast, and it can also fall very fast. So just watch out if you're in there. We do have a couple of gold stocks. Some of the biggies we don't have. We're not covering Newmont at the moment because we need more history. Northern Star, Evolution haven't made a break yet. So it's the smaller ones we've been in at the moment, like Ramelius that we're making some money on. So that's gold. Copper's looking better, holding up. It's made a little break up through here, through R1, excuse me, and it may well move towards R2 now. There's been some very good volume here. There's a little spurt of energy here from copper. So the stars are aligning a little bit for some of the metal stocks. Bit of gold, bit of copper, iron ore's holding pretty well where it is at the moment. Uranium's going for a bit of a run. So it's sort of interesting what's happening there at the moment, and certainly worth watching in that sector. We don't play big in that sector because it's a dangerous sector, but there are some good stocks, whether it be things like Sandfire, BHP, whatever, that all have some sort of exposure to those commodities that we prefer than the smaller ones. Okay, so that's copper. And then Brent Crude, which really done nothing this week. It's gone sideways for the last 2 weeks, really. It's had a little bit of a rally, a little bit of volume, nothing extraordinary considering what's going on in the geopolitical world. So a little bit surprising, but it could just soon take off if it wanted to. But for the moment, we're holding fire on nearly all our oil stocks and crude stocks at the moment. I'm going to have a look at one energy stock a bit later on that looks a little bit interesting for you to have a look at. Okay, so that's the indices and the commodities. So commodities giving us a little bit of a boost as opposed to techs in America, and the industrials have just come back a little bit as we've seen a bit of profit taking there. They've had a very good run, some of those stocks. As I said before, things like Car Group, GMG, West Farmers, Magellan, they've all done pretty well. Okay, so let's have we've got a couple of stocks here now. I've got a couple of sort of client requests here. The first one is Qantas. I don't usually cover it because I'm not that interested in it at the moment, but I'll tell you why. Because it's really sitting in the mid-range and not really doing much at all. Qantas, this is from 2020. We've travelled above this support level here at 440. Resistance level up here is $6 to $7. It's been holding it, and we're right in mid-range. We're seesawing around. There's been plenty of selling down here. Let me just colour this a little bit more. Plenty of selling down here, which means the sellers are pretty well dominating this at the moment, and upside forays have been very short-lived at the moment. So really, Qantas' trend intensity is -5. It doesn't look that interesting to me. It's stuck in mid-range. While it's in this range, I'm not that interested in it. It shows uncertainty, which means you'll get moves in both directions, and you'll go, well, it's going to go higher, then it sort of turns around and goes back down again. It's a very frustrating time. So those sorts of trading ranges, to me, are full of stress and not much profitability. So Qantas for me at the moment really is Not a stock that I'd be interested in at the moment. The other big one is CSL, and we're all wondering what's happening with CSL, but a few people have asked me what's going on, and I'm saying, well, nothing's going on because it's not doing anything. It's trading in a range, it's going sideways, it doesn't really yield anything, so holding the stock is, sometimes it's okay, but I always like to have a bit of a yield cushion if I'm going to hold stock for a long time, in my super fund especially. So things like CSL, it sort of gets a little bit frustrating when you're not earning much money and there's no growth in it, which we're used to having in it. So for me, we saw a bit of a bad week this week so far. There's really nothing here in volume, there's really nothing here in momentum, and there's no trend behaviour occurring. So for CSL, for me, it is a no-no, and I wouldn't be holding it for sure. Okay, no trend, no friend. Okay, next one I want to look at, I mentioned to you energy before. Whitehaven Coal, it's been an amazing performance, and it's proved a lot of people wrong, especially with this big rally we had back here back in 2021, 22. It just went on and on and on as all of a sudden we realised coal was not going to go away, and it didn't go away, and they made a lot of money, and they gave a lot of money back in the form of dividends to investors, rewarding them. But we've seen it come back. It's come back from 11 to about 6, so it's almost cut itself in half, and it's potted along here for the last year. And now we're starting to get a little bit of interest. We had a bit of a sell-off here, but we get a little bit of interest back here, a bit of volume here, momentum's flat. It's just starting to move above the average, which is a bit flat, so I don't read too much into that because often it seesaws around an average and a sideways move, which it probably is in at the moment to some extent, with the resistance up here at about 820 and support down here at 6. But it's looking a little bit interesting. What I'll be looking for now in this one is a break of this R1 here and a bit of volume to follow that. And the momentum will also be following that. So we'll suddenly get a trend intensity rating which will look a bit better. It's neutral at the moment. So Whitehaven Coal is of interest. For those of you who don't like coal, you don't buy it. For those of you who are interested in making a bit of money, then you probably would. But Whitehaven Coal is probably one to watch, I think, at the moment. A couple of stocks I'll talk about. We've seen some big runs in some stocks recently, and they've made some very good money for us. And Car Group is one of these stocks, but it's now coming back. I'm showing you my stops this week just to give you an idea of how I work, because I'm going to talk about my process later on, and it's so important that when we get these big profits to lock them in. Now, I don't know what Car Group's going to do, whether it's going to go down further, sideways or up further, but I know what I'm going to do. If it goes below my stop, I will take my profit and stand aside and wait for the next signal to come, whether it be a trend reversal or a new high. So I have a profit to protect here, a big profit to protect in Car Group, from right down here to around about $22. It's now up around 33, and it's testing my stop. I've got to protect my profit. If I wait another week, you will find this will fall, and you'll find all your profits will disappear. That's what can happen. I'm not saying it's will happen, but it can happen. So all you do is just take that out of the equation, lock in your profit. You can always move on this stock again if you want to later on. Okay, so Car Group is back testing its support level this week, and we'll see where that finishes at the end of the week. Just to show you a little bit in the volume here, I just want to poke this big one up a little bit, because we can just see it's really not a lot of selling in this move at the moment. Okay, so it's more about the buyers backing off possibly, and the people taking a bit of profit. So that's probably a good sign in the long run. Still, it will not change my mind. If it closes below its stop this week, I will get out and take my profit on that one. The other one is James Hardie. We've had a couple of trades in this run up. Unlike Car Group, which was one big trade, we had a couple of trades here, one there, and this second one here from around about $46. Now it's come back and it's had about a nasty week this week, falling right through its stop. Now we've still got a couple of days to go, and stranger things have happened. It could finish above the stop, but we don't know yet, so I always wait till the end of the week. I don't really look at the prices during the week too much. I'm not too concerned, because this bar that we're currently looking at there can change. Okay, so it might look awful at the moment, but if it does finish up here, it won't look so bad at the end of the week. So that's why I look at the weekly thing and don't look at the daily, because it does make you jump and shudder a little bit and think, well, should I, shouldn't I? Just wait, see what happens, and the market will tell you what it's going to do. So this is a break. This is a break of an all-time high here, which normally you would expect to go on. It hasn't gone on. It's another good reason for us to protect ourselves, because we are at a major juncture. And again, we don't see a huge amount of volume here. Probably to say the buyers withdrawing more than anything, and the sellers here sort of panicked a little bit, and they're starting to sell at some pretty weak levels. But anyway, that's the way the market works. The markets go down further, faster than they go up. Okay, so that's James Hardy, Industries, a couple of stocks to watch. There's some big profits that we need to protect, which is what I'm all about, and what the most important thing is to my returns, to make sure I keep those stocks. Okay, now, doesn't matter what the story is or what the demographic is, we never really know what we're going to see with the stock here. And Sonic Healthcare has just been one disaster after the next. From a high up here around about $46, it's now down around $25. Yesterday, closed just below $26 yesterday, and falling fast on high demand. Now, I don't know why, so on high volume, I don't know why this is. It's not for me to reason why. I only look at what the price tells. The price never lies. It tells me what it's going to do. Fundamentals can trick you, but the price can't trick you. Okay, so this price is going down, so I'm not interested. And remember the CSL chart? Well, it's a bit interesting because the health stocks haven't done that well of late, and everybody's saying, well, the demographics good, they're going to turn around, whether it be ResMed or whatever, but they haven't yet. They will, but they haven't yet, and the price is telling us they're not ready to turn around yet, especially when I see a chart like Sonic Health, which is dropping on huge volume. It's got further to go down. Momentum's powerful on the downside. So really, again, it's not something that I would even think about buying at this stage. Trend intensity rating is -10, so the price never lies. Okay, so that's some of the stocks that I want to go through. A couple of stories here, a couple of stocks we don't want to touch, like Qantas and CSL. Whitehaven is looking a bit interesting. We've got to watch our stops with Car Group and James Hardy and Sonic Health. Stocks that are going down, we're just not interested in. Okay, no matter how good they are, all stocks will do it. Okay, now to a couple of small stocks, just a bit of fun for you today. West African Resources, an interesting little stock. I'm talking about a couple of miners today, but this is West African Resources, a smaller sort of stock. Trend intensity rating is +1, but it's now testing its old highs up here and just above 140. Here, I've got a little alert set on here that rings a bell when it hits above there, so as I know. But we can see here, if I just go through here and put your volume up a little bit, we can see this last big run up here. It's got some great volumes and great momentum above the average. So this is certainly an important juncture right now. It may get through, it may not. So I just wait and I watch. I set my alert, and if it closes above there on a weekly basis, more than 1%, then I would probably buy this stock for mine. So looking for possibility of a range jump of this. So that's gone from 70 cents to 140. You might get another run up there to 210, something like that. That's roughly what I'd look for. But it looks interesting. A new high is always a bit of fun for me, and a good momentum trade, despite what has happened here. It's already gone up a long way, but it can also go up a long way. And we've seen stocks, whether it be the old uranium stocks or whatever it is, they just took off, and they take off and off and off. And that's what happens in the mining sector. But it's also very dangerous because they can come back just as fast. So you play the game, be careful, watch your exposure. You're not overexposing yourself to these stocks, but you can certainly have a bit of fun with some of these stocks indeed. Okay, a couple of other I want to show you one. Southern Cross Electrical, talking about sort of yield protection. This is an interesting stock that's done pretty well. It had a nice little break up here. I think I talked about this quite some time ago. It has a simple little break. Above about 75 cents. This was back in August last year. It's now nearly $1.18. It's gone up pretty well straight up. It's gone very fast the last couple of weeks. It was yielding about 6.5. It's probably now yielding about 4 at this price. But it's been a very interesting stock, and it's been one of those stocks that when you get a break like this, it looks very interesting. You can put them wherever you want to put them, super fund or your trading account, whichever one it is. But if you've got some yield there, you can. It's a bit of a psychological cushion just to have that payment that you're going to go every 6 months, or sometimes it's every quarter. A bit of money just to make the risk a little bit less, and your returns a little bit better. So in that space as well, at the moment we've got SG Fleet, which is in its move about to break, or possibly going to break. It's got a big reversal pattern here happening. The trend intensity rating is currently 10. It has broken above as far as I'm concerned. The volume here, I'm going to squeeze that big one up somewhere. You can see it's pretty good at the moment. So this last run up here has been some good volumes, been some good momentum, and kicked above the average. Again, the very, very simple process that I use is I have my system for my entry. I then manage it. I've got my entry. I set my stop, and I let the price develop. It may come back and my stop might go off. I take my 15% loss. I get out, or it may go up. okay, like Southern Cross Electrical did, and then I will raise my stop, and I'll show you a bit how I do that in a minute. But that's an interesting stock, SG Fleet, yields well as in the industrial space, fairly safe, and looks quite interesting. The other one is Grain Corp, again more of an agricultural stock. It's very hard to get good agricultural stocks in our market. There's not a lot there, and they can be quite volatile. However, Grain Corp is looking pretty interesting. It's yielding very well at the moment. We've now broken above this R1 here, so as opposed to SG Fleet, which is making a new high, this one's making a trend reversal, which is more of a buy and weakness trade. As you can see, we've had a correction here. We've had a correction here, it's come down, it's found a good support, gone through an accumulation phase. So after the downtrend phase, the accumulation phase, comes the uptrend phase, and we're starting to get some high lows here, and now some higher highs, getting some volume, some momentum. So it's all looking pretty interesting as far as I can see. And again, you've got a bit of yield cushion to protect yourself if you want that. Okay, so there's a few different ideas for you today, a few different things about taking profits, which stocks to avoid, and there's also some great stocks at the moment. We've got 3 new stocks that come in this week, which are really good stocks, and there's lots of things happening there that we can get onto to help make a bit of money. So there's some stocks for you. So now what I want to go through, so just looking there, yes, so Southern Cross Electricals are yielding currently 4.2. SG Fleet is yielding 5.4, and Grain Corp is yielding 6.4%. So that's not a bad thing, especially when you can't quite get that in the bank at the moment. So it's a bit of a no-brainer to me. Anyway, okay, so that's the charts I want to go through today. Now we've got what I want to go through is. Okay, I talked about my step-by-step guide at the start of this. Now, really, I've summarised this in pretty well 2 slides for you, so it's fairly easy. But really what I've gone through, I'm now, I can't tell you how old I am, but I'm now I'm not a young man anymore, but I've been through 30, 40 years of trading and experience, and worked here and overseas, and looked at lots of different methods. But you come back to some very basic stuff. And what I can do is I can shortcut this for you and try and explain what I do, because I've seen all these things. And there's a lot of methods and ways that are quite complex, lots of room for error. But just the simplicity of trading, price and volume is quite a good thing. Or price and volume and a couple of simple indicators is quite good. So I'm going to talk a bit about what I do and why I do it. Okay, so firstly, my trade process is a step-by-step guide to big profits or small loss. That's what I do. Okay, there are many things to grasp, as I said before, but to understand and arrive at the simplicity of the key elements of successful trading, i.e. a system for entry, your discipline, and your money management. They're the 3 key things. Okay, so understanding those elements, we build them into a working trade plan, and I'm going to summarise them in 2 slides. So firstly, a simple step-by-step method to managing profitable outcomes based on method of risk management. Okay, learn how to run your profits and lock them in being the key word, and you're limiting your losses to an X percentage. So limiting losses is the key thing. So it's the old adage of run your profits, catch your losses, and it's ways to do it, but you've got to do it, and that's where the discipline factor comes in here of actually doing these things. Okay, so underlying this method is really looking at the Stockradar premise of the four trade outcomes: a big win, small loss, or a big loss. We don't want big losses. All you have to do is cut them out. You just don't take big losses. You just take them, whether it's 15%, 10%, 20%, whatever it is you want to do. You just limit your risk to a certain amount and you get out. It's nothing to do with analysis. It's to do with managing your money and looking after it. So we don't take big losses. A risk on any one trade is limited to 15%. So I enter a trade, I set my stop at 15%, and that's it. It never goes down. All profits are locked in with a trailing stop. So once the price goes up, my stop loss becomes a stop profit, and then it will get hit. So it follows the price up higher and higher and higher, and we know how stocks trend, whether it be Car Group, Magellan, whatever. They all trend exceptionally well, and they exceed our expectations, and they're the ones we've got to get onto. So all profits are locked in with a trailing stop profit. So step by step, how it works. My trade entry, I have my system, I have my rules, my trend reversal, my new high, and I have my trend intensity indicator to filter out anything that's not confirmed properly. So when I go into a trade, I set my stop. So we can see here, my trade entry will be above this level here, which would be around about $23. and it makes a break here. I then enter the trade the next week at $24.22, and I set my stop at $20.99, which is 15% below that price. Done. Finished next week. Okay, we watch it next week. It goes up a bit more. I'll probably raise my stop a little bit. Okay, and this process goes on. So my stop is moved to break even as soon as possible. As soon as I can get it to break even, I feel comfortable. I'm not going to lose any money. Okay, and that's an important step in the trade itself. Important step of money management. Okay, then as the price continues higher, we will continue to lift this. So a stop loss becomes a stop profit once it goes past break even. So our stop profit moves to, I just look for key points, usually in a 10 to 15% band, somewhere below the last weekly close. And I just keep raising this stop and raising this stop. And here it is at the moment. We can see where it is. It's not been hit this week, so we've come down a bit this week, but we haven't got too near it. But eventually it will. I'm thinking about Crude, I'm thinking about James Hardy. When that stop goes off, when that stop profit is hit and broken, we get out. Okay, so that's how we'll deal with Goodman Group. I don't know what's going to happen with Goodman Group this week. It's going to hold or not, but I know where my stop is and I know exactly what I'm going to do. So that is the step process there. There's 5 steps in that process. It's very simple, and that's, there's a lot of knowledge and learning and understanding that goes into actually building something like that trade plan, but it has the key elements in the trade plan. It has a system for me to enter. Remember, entry is analysis. Then it becomes a function of money management. So then it's my trading method of lifting my stop, which is incorporating my money management process, okay? And then the key point there is having the discipline to make sure I do cut my losses and I do take my profits, okay? As you know, the Stockradar process, if I take a profit on Car Group and it comes down a bit and then goes straight back up to the new high, I rebuy a new high. So I can always have the opportunity to get back on that trend if it doesn't. But the key thing is locking that profit so nobody can take that away. It goes into the bank account and it's safe. And so often we see these things evaporate because we think, well, just one more week. Anyway, so that's really it. So be disciplined and keep safe is really the thing I'm talking about today. Going through that process of a trade is really not that hard. It's just a matter of us doing it. It's a mentally relaxing process. I only do weekly, as you know. So all these things I try and take the stress out of it and make trading a happy occasion and a profitable one. And it can be very easily a profitable trading system. Okay, so that's about all I've got for you today. Just really, as I said, just make your system simple and follow it. Really, that's about all there is to it. And there's some great money to be made in the stock market at the moment. So if you're interested, take a trial, sign up, come on board. We've got lots of things happening there. Every week there's new stuff happening. I'm setting all my stops for you so you know exactly where they are. All my trend and 1030 ratings. It's all the information there in the trading centre, Stockradar's trading centre for you to use. Okay, so watch your trends. Heed your stops, stay safe, and I will see you all next week. Thanks very much.